What's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to the Mindshare Podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at industrysyndicate.com and mindshare101.com. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. This is episode 47. He's the Director of Training and Development for Century 21 BJ Roth Realty in Barrie, Ontario, and has helped grow the company from 5 offices just 4 years ago to 10 offices today across Central and Southern Ontario. He says that the growth stems from the strong relationship that the brokerage has with their sales associates, and that they make it a priority to answer and respond to all communications within 10 minutes, 7 days a week. For he and the team, the goal was to create a supportive family culture within the brokerage, and they made sure that their philanthropy of giving back to the community was part of it. Century 21 BJ Roth, for 5 years in a row, has been the #1 Century 21 fundraiser for Easter Seals Kids to Camp program, raising over $1 million for the program to date. Also joining me on the show, she is the broker manager with C21 BJ Roth and plays an instrumental role in working with Century 21 Corporate and the other brokerages across Canada to collaborate and share innovative approaches to grow the business and the brand across the country. Her passion is also in philanthropy. She spends an enormous amount of time with the Easter Seals Kids to Camp program, and this relationship goes beyond raising funds. She regularly spends time with the kids and their families, and to her, these amazing kids and their families are her heroes. Today on the Mindshare Podcast, I am really excited to have Ron O'Neill and Teresa Kerr with us here. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you, David. This is so great, and it's such a pleasure to be here.
It really, you know what, guys, I know we get to chat a lot on sort of sidebars, but to me, this was an honor to have you both on here. And you guys are like the sort of picture perfect I guess people that I would say when we want to talk about relationships, you two are the ones. So I mean, with that though, guys, I want to get into the fact that you two are so good with relationships that you're even in the Guinness Book of World Records. Okay, but well, I know, right? I got a few people listening who are probably going, "What the? Huh? What? What'd you say?"
So we hold the world record for the world's longest continuous hug. So that means no breaks.
Oh my God. And we're going to get into that. I want to get there. I want to share that with everybody because I remember the first time I heard that story and I was totally blown away. And I thought to myself, and I can picture exactly where we were when you were telling me. And I thought, what? How could you can, anyways, we'll go there. We'll go there. But before we get to that, I do want to talk relationships.
Yes.
And we know how important relationships are in any business, any line of business. Doesn't matter what business you're in. And I mean, for our audience here, at least, we've got realtors, we got mortgage brokers, we got loan officers. And I mean, something in Mindshare 101 style that I'm preaching on a regular basis is go out there and build relationships.
Yes.
And I've always had this issue with there's a lot of bright, shiny objects out there. There's a lot of things that realtors and again, salespeople of the like can do to build their business. But at the end of the day, it's not about all these tools and these gimmicks. It's really about, what you do on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
So we had together, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we met back in 2017 when we were at Quebec at National Conference 1C21, right?
Yeah.
We did.
And we've gotten to know each other there. And then through, a lot of back and forth talking, you'd reached out to me and about an opportunity to come up and chat with your team at one of your dynamic meetings.
Yes.
And I feel like ever since that time, and fast forward to where we are today, where we've worked together a bunch and we've certainly been very supportive of each other. But it's really gone well beyond that. I mean, we're able to have real blunt, real conversations with each other that are sort of like, the business side of things is so far gone on that, if that makes any sense. And I mean in a good way, where it's like the guard is dropped. There's nothing there that's not real. It's very genuine.
Be very frank with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that like we were saying just before we went on air, you don't find that with everybody you converse with in a day, but when it's, A, that people are genuine, it's easier to find, but B, when you really truly have an actual real connection with people, it's just very cool where things can go together.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, that's look, you two are just genuinely two very awesome people. And I am just like amazing. I don't know. I thought it was so cool to get to know you. Right. So, I guess based on that and what I just mentioned there about, you know, sort of what your day-to-days look like and
Yeah.
sort of the roles you both play within the brokerage, I did want to share more.
Yep.
You know, we talked about the growth of the office. We talked about, and I know that recruiting when it comes to, in general, kind of the roles maybe you guys play in other offices and brokerages is for the most part a top priority for a lot. Not that I want anybody to give any trade secrets away today. Okay. So we're not looking for the stuff that like, we're not going to tell people. But we did mention the strong relationships with the sales associates. And so I was wondering, can you tell us more about this? Like, what kind of things are you guys doing on a regular basis to develop those stronger bonds? Is this a planned process or, you know, do you, for the most part, just sort of get up and do your thing every single day? Like,
Yeah,
tell
you
us
know
more
what?
about that.
So what we do is what we've originally done was set those goals, and you know, every year we take a look at what are we going to achieve, right from the beginning to right to the end, and every day we kind of refocus on what we're going to do. And like as an example, you know, this month has been an incredible month for recruitment, and I was mentioning this a little bit earlier, is that how do we keep that focus? Because we have so many new agents coming on board with us every day, how do we maintain the relationships that we do have in our business?
That's a huge, huge thing, because when you've got 250 agents, yes, your priority is your brand new agents and trying to do your training and making sure that, you know, they've got all the skills that they need. But let's not forget that we have so many agents that also need continuous, you know, support and direction from us, that communication and those personal touches, being able to reach out to them, a text message, a small video out to them, just reminding them that we're here, that we want to support them, and that we care.
Yeah, because, you know, obviously they have lives as well, and you know, they have their daily challenges, both on personal level as well as business. And when you're this big, it's hard. You know, I'll be honest. You know, I wish I can wake up every single day and have a touch point with every agent, but it's a, you know, we just don't have enough time during the daytime. But we do pay attention to what's happening, and when they're having those struggles, and when they're in a negotiation and they need us, we're and that's why you were mentioning about what I was saying, is that we try to get back to our agents within 10 minutes, and most of the time I think it's even under 5 minutes, because if I can't take it, I'm texting Teresa, Teresa, take this call.
Back and forth.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's their business and their relationships with their clients.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, look, when I read the, you know, the sort of that stuff that you had sent me, and you talked about, you know, getting back to people that quickly, I thought, like, are you just waiting by your phone for people to get in touch with you? You know what I mean? I know that it's not that, but it kind of is that, based on your roles that you guys play, right? It's like, how can we be there to service? And knowing you two the way I do, like, I know a lot more than maybe our audience does. And for the audience that's listening that does know you guys, they know exactly what I'm talking about, right? But for the people that don't, like, I feel like I get you guys, and it truly is genuine. It's amazing how you do that. Now, Ron, you just mentioned about goals, and then you guys talk about, you know, getting back to people quickly, and we talk about time management, and you said, you know, people have personal lives. So I guess from the startup part of that is, you know, you've got goals. So the office did some great stuff this month, but and it's, again, not for anything, the numbers are nobody's business, so I don't want to go down that road. But what I want to ask you is, you know, from a goals perspective, do you lay these goals out on a annual, a weekly, a monthly? Are there goals that are laid out, or is it just kind of this thing that's in your mind? How do you guys do this together?
Yeah, so what we do is we take a look at, first of all, you know, there's some dramatic shifts in the industry right now. We got a lot of the baby boomers that are retiring, and we had to kind of look at it in a year in advance. So what happens is we take a look at what is our attrition going to look like? You know, how many people are we going to potentially lose? And then, but how do we offset that with continued growth for the following year? So basically our goal last year was to bring on a new agent every 10 days. This year was to bring on an agent every 7 days, and that was to offset the attrition, the retirement of our agents. And we're seeing it, and it's working. So
with that, okay, because I talk a lot about goal setting, and I think that is it's massively overlooked.
Yes.
And I've joked about this a lot lately. So for anybody listening that's already heard me laugh about this about myself, I'm going to say it anyways. But I remember specific times where I've been at conferences and being on an audience member, never mind, on stage, but being an audience member, and people are like, okay, it's time to set goals. And you're like, give me a break, set goals. Let's go. Hurry up. Keep moving. Because the mindset wasn't there about setting goals. And quite frankly, I wasn't aware of what goals I wanted to set.
Right.
Yeah.
And over the years of feeding the brain and reading and studying and learning and talking to people, you realize how important it is to really get that stuff. And so I've been very diligent myself of doing that for the past number of years. And I can tell you straight up how amazing that's been for me. Right. And so from a goal perspective, and I shared this back to the audiences, and we did this in the Mindshare Challenge in session 1, was, set your goals. Yeah. Go through and lay out what your lifetime goals look like, break that down to annual, annually, break it down to monthly to weekly to daily. And now you're going to know, how do I ultimately achieve what do I want to achieve?
Right.
Yes.
So are you guys following a similar process with that when you're doing the goal setting?
Yes.
We do. We do set out at the beginning of the year. We follow it up on a weekly basis.
Yes.
I just also want to say that when we came in a number of years back, we also not only had a goal of, for recruiting and things like that. We had a huge goal of turning, because at that point there was, we wanted to change a bit of the culture and things like that. So in our recruiting process as well is we have, looking for personalities that are going to fit the culture within our brokerage. We don't want to just grow and not feel that there's still a family feel to our brokerage. So that's another big aspect is that we try and do.
Yeah, because when we were setting goals and stuff, like we were taking a look at per agent production, we're taking a look at average commissions across the brokerage itself. We knew that if we were building the right culture and building the right relationships, there would be that internal support and helping other agents grow as well. Because as you know, we can't be there for all of our 10 offices all the time, but they knew that there was support within the office. Because when I got into the industry, I kind of felt like it was like there was like here's the desk, here's your computer, good luck, and there you go. And we had to change that up, and we had to kind of provide a culture of support, not just amongst the management and the brokers, but everybody.
Yes.
And that's really helped us.
Because it passes down from us, and then that's what agents learn from, and then they live by when they're dealing with their own clients and things like that. It's about supporting it and relationships.
Yeah,
it's interesting. You mentioned about culture. And I believe that culture, and I did a talk on that a number of years ago in Vegas to broker managers. And it was this idea around culture being the fifth element and really going through and going, why is it, how do you implement culture into the office? How do you, so I mean, for you guys, I guess what I'm taking from that is you're trying to find the right people.
Yeah.
And how do you know that this person's going to jive with that person, or what are you looking for?
Yeah, one of the things that we want, we do use different types of we don't go as far as using Myers-Briggs or the DISC test or anything like that, but we do use certain color coding to see what the personalities are like and how they're going to kind of immerse themselves in providing a positive and supportive culture. From how can they add to us as well? Because I always look at it this way: when the agents come in, they're feeding off of us, right? But what's amazing, they have also something to deliver to the brokerage as well. And a lot of times it's, their life experiences and their challenges and their successes. And everybody has a story and everybody has their own skills and experiences, and they have something. I always say I have an 80-20 rule. When I meet somebody, a new agent that's coming through the door, I tend to talk too much, but the rule
you have that problem too?
yeah. I love to talk, right? And the one thing is 80% of the time, the new agent should be talking when they first come through the door, and 20% I should be asking the questions to kind of, what are they going to bring to us? And, because everybody
what are their goals? What are their expectations? What is it that they really are looking for in assistance in building their career? These are things that if we know and can, the communication is open there, then we're better able to serve our clients, our agents.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And that's our philosophy.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about time management, and I mean, just looking at that whole idea of getting back to people quickly, right? And we know time management's a big challenge in this industry, right? I mean, in any industry, in anybody's life, I think these things have led us to be so connected in so many different ways that it's, anytime you got free time, it's almost like you're answering a message from something, right?
Yes.
But I mean, looking at answering messages there, and then talking about the fact that the agents have personal lives, and you guys have personal lives. How do you deal with this thing of getting back to people so quickly?
You know what? It is the phone, obviously, but we have three levels of. We look at it 3 different ways to our agents. I said, okay, if you send an email, the thing is that you're probably not going to get that 10-minute response, because just prioritize the what you're going to send to us. If you're going to send it in a text, then we'll treat it as a second priority. The first priority is the phone call. And if I can't answer it, I send a text to Teresa, and then Teresa will call the agent, and just say, hey, what's up? Is there anything I can do?
Cool.
And it's a team, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But also we also have other managers that are in the brokerage as well. That when we can't, if we can't answer the call, and this is one of the greatest pieces of technology, is that I don't like to hang up on my agent and call one of my other managers. What I do is I merge the phone call with the other manager. So we're not dropping the call. So again, we'll have a conference call. So we're saving, potentially phone tag over the next hour, but put the resolution within 5 to 10 minutes.
So do you get you must get a ton of positive feedback from your agents about that. Like I know, look, having done what I've been doing for a number of different years, I've run into a lot of different broker managers, a lot of different owners, a lot of different offices, a lot of different cultures. Some much better than others, for example, right? And then some not so good. And a lot of that, I think, when people are looking for a brokerage, for a place to, put their feet down and sort of get their desk and look for their leadership, comes down to what kind of communication, what kind of support am I getting from the office?
The old thing is it's not what people aren't going to remember what you say. They're not going to remember what you do. It's good. It's how you make them feel. That's to give the lasting impression.
Right.
And
so
what I was also going to mention was, it's interesting with when we came into this industry, we quickly discovered the number one complaint from our clients, from our agents, was lack of communication. So we had to set the precedence at this level to make sure, if we're reaching back to you within 10 minutes, you should be no different with your clients, right? And that's resonating.
Setting the example.
Okay, so to this then, when we say your long-term goal by getting back to people this quickly and by really leveraging relationships, in terms of long-term goal for maybe you guys personally, or maybe for the office, like what's the idea behind that? Or is that just like, no, man, that's just when we wake up in the morning, that's who we are, But I mean, imagine we talk goals. There's got to be something there where it's like, well, this is what we're
what we're trying to achieve. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's, to mitigate the complaints, obviously, from the clients, and then mitigate the complaints from the agents. Happy agents is a happy brokerage, and happy agents is happy clients, right? And our long-term goal was, when we're having that high level of service that we're providing to our agents, that is no different. That's going to trickle down to the agents or to the clients, who are going to like, trust, and refer, right? That's the goal. Because they say, oh my God, the service that I received from Jillian was absolutely amazing. She got back to me within minutes. My whole experience with the transaction was something that I've never seen before. And again, what's our whole goal with our agents is building that referral business.
Okay. Okay, cool. So for the agents, is building referral business. I imagine for the brokerage, a lot of it is retention with people, keeping people on board, some growth out there of maybe, I know I said off the top there, I believe when you started with the company, there was 5 offices, and then together as a team and along with them, sure, a big support team at the office. You guys have grown it to 10 offices now.
Yes.
Is that the goal, is to keep sort of growing and expanding, or are you guys kind of at that point maybe? And again, I don't want to let a lot out of the bag here. So let's be a little vague there. But
actually, that's a great question, because we were talking about that this morning of, where should we focus in Q1 of 2020, right? So one of the things is that focusing a bit back on conversions, back on building the business per agent production, in Q1 and Q2, but still we're still going to get, because what's happening right now is because of technology, a lot of the agents that have been in the business 30, 40 years, they're scared right now. Because the intimidation of all these technology changes. And what we're trying to mitigate and reduce the attrition with these agents by giving them the training and support with the technology. But we know that we're going to lose agents. But so to offset that in Q1 and Q2 for 2020 is we need to buckle down and focus in on, yes, we're going to have the technology training, but we have to now focus in on the agent production training, conversions. And that's going to be a huge one for us, because it seems like the last 2 years we've just been training technology, and we're forgetting about where our dollars are coming from, right?
Okay, that you're right into that, because that's what I wanted to ask you and say, we're talking a lot about relationship and again, goal setting and time management and everything else, which is always very important, integral, underlying topics.
Yeah.
And mentioning here that, our folks that have been in the business for some time, who maybe didn't start this business with all of this technology are, and I mean, I see it as well. There is an intimidation factor. There is an overwhelming factor of how much of this do I need to really wrap my head around and start to embrace. And then again, looking at that theme of relationships, what role is the relationship still playing in the sales rep success? Like, after everything we've done in this past few years and this roller coaster of tech, does it still come back to the relationship business? And then
it does.
First and foremost,
yeah. And that's what we've had to do. We've actually had to tell some of our more senior agents that have been around a long time. We said, look, let's do this. What we're going to do is we're going to set it and forget it technology. So we set the technology up for them, and then forget it. Go back to your database. Go back to
your basics. Being in front of people. This is a relationship business. Transactions are secondary. This is about the relationships that you build.
Yeah.
So is the technology building those for me, or is it just helping me, or is it disconnecting me?
I see it's helping them. The transaction time compared to 5 years ago, to get a transaction done today is a lot faster, quicker, and easier for the most part once you learn the technology. But it's a tool. It's just a tool. It's not the foundation of the very success of any business.
It's those relationships that are the foundation.
Yes.
Okay, so here I'm going to throw a piece of technology out that I saw another leading coach in our industry post up the other day on a social media platform, and I didn't read through the full article, so I'm not. It doesn't matter who this individual was, but it was something along the lines of, you can now do a virtual listing presentation.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I thought to myself, I was like, nah, you don't want to do a virtual listing presentation. I'm like, hey, you're not giving yourself the opportunity here. Like, you're not going to be able to go into the house and see something on the wall that you resonate with, or talk about that family photo that day that they went wherever. Like, you're missing that entire element of being able to build the relationship and connect with the person.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
Technology's great. It's that shiny thing that, what's coming up next. But it's the personal touch.
Building that trust.
A computer is not going to win over somebody's likability. It's you. Yeah. It's all about you getting in front of them and showing how genuine, positive, honest you are, and how much you care about them. Because a piece of paper, a flat screen is not going to show how much you care.
Not at all. And I think that a lot of people have really hidden behind that screen and believe that that's the biz. Now, I mean, I am going to give that message right there to anybody who is in the, that generation, that demographic of folks that might say, I've been in the business a long time and the technology's bothering me, it's overwhelming me, whatever. I mean, if you listen to what we just said, like, the reality is, you can embrace it and you can help make the transaction faster, but is it ultimately really a driving force behind what's going to put you out of the business? Like, if you remember that it's a relationship business, do what you've always been doing. Should these people not continue to be able to succeed out there?
Well, the thing is that, in reference to, because the real estate space has changed so significantly with all this technology and stuff, I've always looked at it, use technology as also a connector. in reference to, social media, as
Absolutely.
we're sitting on the platform right now. And I always say, Facebook did kill high school reunions, but we're more connected. We're more connected to the people from high school now than we've ever would have, right? And also to our clients. And I think, kind of going back to what you were saying, David, from your previous podcast, when your client has a birthday, don't be the 100th person to say happy birthday on the Facebook. Pick up the phone, and just wish them. I know you've been busy, you probably got 100 phone calls already, surprisisingly enough.
It was only mom that called.
Yeah, right. Or like take one of these things and actually use it for once. Like but automate the card for me, or I'm going to get a company to do. I'm like, you're missing out on the whole point here, right?
You're missing out on that personal piece of information that's going to go into that makes them think, well, this was well thought of when they wrote that card to me.
They care, right? So okay, staying with that theme for a moment then, and talking about this relationship thing and the technology thing, how does this translate to the rep, to the sales associate? What kind of things? Like, okay, so we say pick up the phone and wish them a happy birthday. What can people do to kind of combat this idea of tech, embrace it, not let it scare them, overwhelm them, beat them, but embrace it, but still bring the belly to belly real, fundamentals to the biz? Like what kind of things should people be doing out there? And I mean, here again, you guys talk about, if I'm one of your agents and I'm going to send you a message and say, hey, I need your help, you are taking it out of the technology and you are now calling me within a certain period of time. And you said that you're sort of educating your agents around doing the same type of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the things, because we have such a diverse set of agents, how they connect with their client base out there is everything from, hey, let's go for a beer, to, hey, I'm having a barbecue. And obviously we're coming up to the Christmas season. And so they're doing the Christmas parties and doing the face-to-face and
Popeyes, it's Halloween, pop by with, pumpkins, but it gives you a time to chat. But then, you've had that face-to-face time. Social media is also a great way just to, keep top of mind, but without that one-on-one, that's really
the connection. And I like one of the big things that's happening this week for Halloween and with a lot of our agents is what they've done is they've dropped off the pumpkins, they've dropped off the carving kits and made it a competition, saying send hashtag, Century 21 agent's name and put it on social media, and we'll have a contest for the most funniest, scariest pumpkins. And again, just having fun and engaging the client base out there. And what I like about this is the kids actually become the biggest advocates of our agents, because they say, hey, is the real estate agent going to come with this year with the pumpkin? And we have another agent that does a great pop by with July 1st, Canada Day. Every year she goes out, gets Canadian flags and sparklers, and it's amazing. Every single year she starts getting phone calls from the family saying, are you going to drop by with?
Because the kids are asking.
The kids are asking. So
I love both of those ideas. I think they're brilliant. I think that's people getting involved. Now, the first thing that comes back to my mind, and I'm the sales rep right now.
Yes.
I'm the one who's going to put the time and the money out to do this. Okay.
Yes.
Where's my ROI?
Yes,
but Ron, if I'm not going to see the dollars back and they're not going to pay me for the sparklers or the pumpkin, why am I doing this? I don't have time. I'm too busy. What do you say to that? Because that people think that.
Yeah, because I get that question all the time, or I'll get the man, that's expensive, and I'll say to them, I said, look at this. I said, okay, you're going to spend $30 per year on different things for that particular client, whether it's the pumpkin, whether it's whatever the situation might be. So $30, okay? Then let's take a look. The next transaction you could potentially do with them is 10 years from now. So that $30 now is $300. But I know your average GCI after our brokerage takes our money is 6,000, let's just say, on our side. I said, don't you think that's a pretty good return on investment? At the end of the day. And guess what? The best thing about it is the relationship. It's, meeting up with the families and seeing how grateful they are about what you're doing and engaging them,
and often turns into referrals to, people talk. This is what my real estate agent does for me. bought a house 6 years ago, but they're still coming out and bringing a pumpkin every year that my kids look forward to. Oh my God, doesn't that speak value?
And another thing that I like about this, because the kids are become advocates of the real estate agents as well, I always tell them, look at the long-term game here. They could be potential clients down 20 years from now, you know? And I said, that is your ultimate goal, because it is a long-term game. Yep.
So, I mean, hey, this is what I call that mind share, right? Because you got the little kid that, mommy, daddy, is like so-and-so realtor coming by to drop off my pumpkin. Mommy and daddy weren't even thinking about the realtor. They're like, oh yeah, I don't have to run to the store. So-and-so's going to be by with a pumpkin. Yeah. I mean, these are the things, though, that don't provide immediate return.
Yeah.
But like you just said, they provide long-term return.
Yes.
Right? So if an agent every day focused on one thing, what would that be?
If there was one thing an agent needs to focus in on, building the relationships and maintaining them, you know, that is the ultimate goal is that. And I tell the agents, I said, you should have a 60-40 ratio. 60% of your day should be maintaining that relationships. Pick up the phone, you know, so, and that's the whole thing is, but here's another critical piece to all this. We were talking about a 10-year kind of, when I laid out for the agents, I said, at the end of the day, guys, I said, you got to be accountable and you got to have your systems and you got to do it every year, because as soon as you stop, you're not going to be top of mind.
You know what? And that's very well said. So then with all that then, so you guys are talking to a ton of agents and we are exactly, I mean, perfectly aligned. And I think a lot of people probably paying attention to this one are very aligned in this. Yet, again, it comes back to my time and my money and my investment and I want it now, right? Yeah. So a lot of people are coming through your office or buzzing you guys on the phone with issues. What is that sort of major underlying challenge that you find that just, no matter the demographic, no matter the age or anything, what is that underlying thing that agents usually face? What is that one big challenge?
Consistency, being accountable to building out systems and sticking with it. You know, there's so many, and you've seen this, David, as well. We see it. We'll see an agent jump on with a coach or a program, and then they'll do really successful for 1 to 2 years. They fall off the program, they stop the coaching, and guess what? You know, they have their worst year yet, you know, after that. And then they time again and again, you know, you have to invest money to get your return on investment in this industry. And I always tell people, I said, I'm the trainer, but one of the best things you can do is hire a coach, because I can tell you what you should be doing, but a coach is going to make you accountable at the end of the day.
Right.
You know? So, but again, you know, David, is they take a look at the dollar value per month for the coaching and the systems and stuff. But the thing is, again, it's a long-term game, and you take a look at it. I said, if you invest in that for a year, take a look at your numbers at the end of the year and take a look at what you brought back with it, you know.
But there's the big difference, right? You're accountable and you're being consistent about it, right? Because once you can have that accountability around something, and you know, like, I mean, I'll say to to my team here, right? I mean, I was on a meeting this morning, and the guy that I was meeting with, he was like, okay, you know, here's what I'm going to do, and I kind of said, okay, here's what I'm going to do, and then I looked at Michelle and I was like, okay, listen, here's what I need you to do. Tell me to do, right? And it's not that I can't do it, but now I've got to be accountable to her, and she's going to go, okay, you've got to get this done. And the minute I get that done, and I go, okay, it's done. She's going to go, okay, now you got to get this done. And the minute I get that done, she's going to keep me, okay, bang, we're ready to meet with them again.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I can set that time myself, but the phone rings.
Yeah.
I got tired. The game was on. It's freaking raining outside. I don't know. I don't feel like making the call or watching the video or doing the research or whatever I was supposed to do. Well, who am I accountable to? Kind of nobody. And now I'm not consistent and I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to, right? So, I mean, that's huge. But, you know, you're saying that the big challenge there is consistency. And this has been a big topic lately. You know, and I mentioned this the other day as well, is that it's so easy to talk about consistency. It is so easy to say to people, be consistent. It is so hard to be consistent, right? So how would people remain consistent? Is this go be accountable to somebody? Is this have a coach? Is this change habits? What would you guys suggest on that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people do it different ways. One of the things that I've been seeing over the last number of years is accountability partners, meeting up every week. You know, having other agents meet together, say on a Monday or Tuesday morning, and go over their goals, their weekly goals, and stuff like that. That's number one. Number two is basically, you know what, setting those goals on a daily basis personally, and making sure that you do. You know, for us, and we do pretty much everything. Like we get up at 4:30 in the morning, right?
What time do you guys go to bed?
Yeah, I know. That depends. But we're at the gym, you know, and we're at work at 8 o'clock, and we're on the phone. You know, we have to have that mindset.
We even put in our calendars, like between this time and this time, you know, we got to touch base with these people. If we're not dealing with a particular situation, or we're not training somebody or something, you know, we've actually added into our calendar, these are the things that we need to do to make sure that we're communicating things out to people or touch base.
And the vision, you know what I like about this is that I find the vision boards, you know, when the agents come in and they look at their vision board in their office wall and say, hey, I want to go to Hawaii. That's my goal this year, to save up for that. That's another thing that really inspires them. And I know, David, you've talked about this a lot. Just having that vision board is massive because it's that motivation. And I've done it for years. You know, for 20 years, all I did was create a vision board every single year and say, hey, I want to work in that part of the world. I'm going to be doing that. And it is so effective. I cannot tell, like I talk about this all the time. Teresa kind of destroyed my, she says, you cannot create a vision board anymore.
She's leaving the country.
Leave the country. But you know what? I love it. I love it. I would literally, this is what I would do. I would literally wake up and I'd say, I want to be this position in this country. And sometimes it would take me weeks, sometimes it would take me a couple of years, but I always achieved most of the goals. Some crazy goals, but vision and goals is key and critical.
You know, it's amazing that you bring that up. So Jen creates my vision board just because she does the creative part of it, but we do together write these things down, right? This is part of our goal setting, and this is actually coming up in the next few weeks because 2020 is coming up, and we don't wait till December, and we don't wait till the first week of January or even February. This happens in November, okay? So that we plan for next year, and so every year we're sort of redoing it, rejigging it. What did we accomplish? What did we not accomplish? What are our aspirations now, right? And it was funny because one of the things that she had done when I came home one day was I looked at the board and she goes, look at this. And what she had done was she had put a picture of me on stage, and on either side of me was basically two big screens with like me. And then behind me was a big screen with like the Mindshow 101 logo, right? She's like, what do you think? I was like, I love it. That's cool. You know, like whatever. It was a massive stage, like thousands of people in the audience. Anyhow, fast forward. Okay. And like you said, Ron, you don't know when, you don't know how, you don't know where, just like, you know, really believe it, really, really want it. Right. So here we are, conference back in Victoria a few weeks ago. And I do my, you know, my typical like little selfie with the audience. Well, as I did that selfie at the end, Jen, my wife, who you guys both know, was there, and she was at the back of the room taking the picture at the exact same moment I took my selfie.
Right.
So now, don't think anything of it. Don't even know she took the photo until we get to the airport and she shows me the picture, and I go and post it up on Facebook with my selfie and kind of like, you know, perspective, like same moment, two different shots, whatever, if you remember the picture. But amazingly enough, I sat there for a second and went, oh my God. Jen went, what's wrong? What's wrong? And the picture she took, here's an audience. Everybody's hands are up. The two screens have me. The back screen was the C21, whatever. It wasn't identical visuals, but it was pretty much there. And I went, vision board. She goes, what? And she looks at the picture. She goes, oh my God.
Awesome.
And like, bang.
There
it was. Is that crazy?
You know what? It's not crazy. I think it's amazing. You know,
Oh man.
You know, when I still remember when I got into this industry, and where I basically didn't know anything about this industry. I was literally given a desk, and I had a vision. I did have a vision of where we wanted to go, and that was building a culture of family and stuff. And now to be sitting here talking about, you know, what we've done and what we've built, you know, it's not always a perfect family by any means.
No, never.
It was a goal for us to get there. and kind of build that nurturing culture within our brokerage and make it about philanthropy, make it about giving back to the community, as well as is just building and organically. I just want to mention our growth has been organic.
Yeah, like we were talking our offices and things like that, and you're saying, what are we, what are your plans? A lot of our growth has been very organic. It's not something, it's because we're just becoming, people bring people.
Yeah,
if they like what you're doing, they will also bring other people going, you know what, you should join us.
Yeah.
Because I love where I work. I love what we do. I love, everything about this family that we really do call it our Century 21 family.
Yeah, no, and I've heard you guys refer to that many times. And speaking of family and speaking of the philanthropy and speaking about, really helping and really instituting this way of thinking. I know you guys are both massive into philanthropy, and I know, firsthand being able to watch you guys accept many awards, and I know genuinely you don't do it for the awards.
No.
It's maybe more for the personal reward of watching the positive impact you put on or are able to provide to others.
Yeah.
And when we talk about Easter Seals, you guys are massively engaged in that. I know, again, I mentioned off the top, BJ Roth, over $1 million the past few years. You guys are always at the top of the list there. And watching it from my side, I'm going to say it's because you two are organically getting out there and bringing people together for this. So just, I do want to dig into that a little bit more, because when we talk about helping people and family in the right cultures, this thing with Easter Seals, and I didn't know, and I've known Easter Seals for many years. And I know I've said this to you in sidebar convos, but I didn't know what it was all about until I actually was able to take part in conference a few years back.
Yes.
And then now am a lot more exposed to it and understanding of it. Tell us more about this, because you guys are very, very involved and you guys do a lot there. And Therese, you said these people are your heroes, and I get it. I know why. I understand it now. But I want to be able to talk a little bit more and just bring a little light to that, because I think that's massive that you guys do that.
You know what? This is something, personally, I've worked with kids, adults with disabilities for a number of years before I ever got into working in real estate. So that was something, when I discovered Easter Seals was a part of this family, it became a very huge part of, I love the fact that it can be part of my job on a day-to-day basis as well, just encouraging others to get involved. But the relationships that we have built, again, it's relationships. We have built relationships with these kids, with these families.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon. I went to Ottawa a couple of weeks back, and I got to go to Carleton University, where one of the students there who was a former ambassador to Easter Seals got to show me the dorms and show me around. It was amazing. But it's nothing for us to spend an evening conversing with them, with the families, visiting them at their cottages and everything. These are people, these are amazing individuals that, despite their physical disabilities, have been able to accomplish amazing things. It's incredible. And they are our heroes.
It's motivating, isn't it?
It is.
I know when when Morgan Carey and I were on the Mindshare podcast prior to conference, and we were talking about it, and I know Morgan is a big supporter there as well. He and I know I mentioned this at conference, but it was he had brought to light for me that it's not just about the kids, but this comes back to the actual families and the parents and the surrounding support system for these kids and for these young adults and these adults that are dealing with these things. But it's really about the entire nucleus around it and what they're all going through as people, And this is where, again, we talked about my arm and being broken off the top of the show today is sort of like off air, but I sort of said it's just a freaking arm. Who cares? There are people dealing with some massive, massive things in life that, affect everything they do and are possibly, unrepairable.
Yeah.
You just can't fix it. You got to live with it. And you guys are out there every single day supporting and helping these people.
Yeah.
I think it's just incredible, incredible, incredible. And so how do you take that and shine that same light, or maybe guide your team, the folks that are working with you, the agents and staff, to be on that same train?
Yeah.
It's
the events.
It's the events. It's, again, getting to know, we bring a lot of times the kids and the families. And I'll tell you, once they get to meet those families, they have a better understanding why is it so important that we're raising the money for the things that we do?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times these families, they need help with, you know, maybe
Wheelchairs.
converting a van, the wheelchairs. Like, I mean, as the kids grow, it's not a one size fits all approach to things. There's so many different things that they do need assistance with. But you know what? Then they get back into the communities, because they've got the chairs or the accessibility. You know, they're out doing things now that maybe they wouldn't have had the chance to do. The Kids to Camp program is incredible. And if you ever get to talk to some of the kids as they've gone to camps, they're actually building relationships. They don't easily make friendships in schools, but these are lifelong relationships that they make at camp. And they'll tell you they don't get to go to prom, but they go to a prom at camp. They on their last night get all dressed up. The counselors get them dressed up. They get them out of their chairs and they dance with them, and they have a party. They get their nails done, makeup, everything, and this is their prom, and this is something they'll never forget.
Yeah.
Please don't get me all emotional here, Teresa. It's you know what, but I get it. I remember again watching that video and watching how amazingly happy everybody is, and then you really put in perspective. I put in perspective my life with my children and my wife, and you know how grateful I am for everything that I've got. And again, you look at these families and your heart breaks in some cases, but then you watch the smiles they have and how happy they are, and you know they're this go-lucky attitude for life, and you go, you know, the sun is always shining there almost in some way, right? And again, I think it's because of folks like you guys. It's absolutely amazing.
And it resonates throughout the entire brokerage that it's not, you know, a few individuals. The whole brokerage comes together. They do, and it's a sense of community. Yeah, it's something this family does together for other families.
And another way. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
I was going to say a great example is yesterday we were taking a look at the money raised so far this year, and one of our agents says, "Look, you know, if once we raise $100,000 this year, I'm shaving my head."
The hockey team can shave my head. They can reach this amount.
Yeah, you know, Teresa's going to be blowing that through the water.
I looked over at her. I was like, wow, that just came out of the blue. Yep. You know, but that's our agents. Yep. They're the ones they're the force behind it all. And the events, I want to talk about the fundraising events, because we have we do have the golf tournaments, but we have some of the best fundraising events for Easter sales, like Dancing with the Stars. The slow pitch tournament this year. How much did we raise for slow pitch this year? 50?
Yeah, it just in total was about $50,000. But the agents that get involved, again, it's those relationships. It's the relationships with our brokerage, but then it's, you know, the agents are often reaching out to their families, their friends, pulling them into different events, inviting them to things. Again, it's relationship, and they get to see, you know, yes, they're a real estate agent, but what are they doing for their community? That's also further showing what kind of person that they are. And I'll tell you, that means a lot.
See, it's amazing how, you know, we talked about culture today, and we're talking now about the philanthropy and then the relationships and the way you guys do that. And I mean, I imagine, you know, everybody paying attention to this today and listening to the entire episode is now piecing this all together and understand how it all comes together. Because, you know, if you are a broker owner, a manager, somebody who's trying to grow your brokerage, you know, you two are just sharing there how culture is so important. Yeah. And how it's amazing how all these outside things that you guys are doing that are technically so unrelated to real estate are so amazingly powerful to grow your brokerage and your business and your lives, right? Yeah. You know, and that's something that people need to go outside the box and always think to themselves, like, what else can I do out there? How can I add value?
Yes.
Because again, it's not always about the transaction. It's about the relationship and the image that you can portray out there to the community about what are your values. And that speaks, you know, volumes about the agents and the people that work here.
So going back to this idea, or sticking with this idea of relationships and getting out there and doing these different things, you guys are actually in a relationship together. And I bring that up only for the sake of saying that I've said how awesome you both are. And I am going to say, like, you know, seriously watching you guys, I want to jump through the screen right now and just hug you both. Like, you just seriously, you guys really inspire me. You really do. But I got to say, you guys are in the Guinness Book of World Records
Mhm.
for the longest hug.
Yes.
Okay. Talk about relationships. Like, I mean, I love my wife, but I think if both of us were here together, we'd both stand in the same spot that long together. You got to tell everybody the story about this. Like,
Okay.
please. Like, I remember when you told me about it, I said this off the top. Just, you got to share this with people. Guinness Book of World Records.
I just want to point out it all started with a bottle of wine and two, right? And then
Great idea.
So this is alcohol. This is
No.
not relationships.
And so what it was is that was the
I had a long-standing relationship with juvenile diabetes. My best friend's daughter was diagnosed, and I was actually the one that kind of discovered she'd been in my care. I noticed the signs and symptoms, sent them to the hospital, and within a number of hours, we found out. So kind of wanting to do a bit of a fundraiser.
yeah.
Kind of think, what can we do that was a little out of the box, that
Just a little.
just a little out of the box. So we started kind of going, wow, I wonder how long the longest hug is.
Where does that come from?
Well, I think what it was is I think we were taking a look at what is something that can be relatable to juvenile diabetes in respects to what's better than giving a child giving a hug. And so that's how it all started.
I told you guys, these people are incredible.
So we started a foundation called Hugging for a Cure.
Yeah.
Was how we did it. And so yes, we found it. We did it for 24 hours and 33 minutes, continuous, no sitting down, no breaks, nothing.
And you know what? And we brought our Century 21, and now I wasn't part of Century 21 at the time. That brought the whole community together of our agents. They came down because they had to have volunteers recording us.
Had to be done in a very open public place.
Who came down? So you had the media, you had Guinness Book of World Records there.
We had tons of media. We had CBC. We had all the major ones that are local.
And like Guinness Book of World Records has to be there with you guys. Do you call them ahead of time and say, hey, we're doing this? Or is it just you record it, document it, and then go, hey, by the way, here's what we got?
Yeah, so you have to register for going for it. And then you have to, it's like a 120-page document that you have to go through. And there's a lot of regulations involved. Yeah. And then document it all and then send it in. And we didn't know at the time if we were even going to get recognized, because there was other people around the world trying to break the world record as well. Mm-hmm. And then, it took us about a year to get the record. Yeah,
to get it certified. But we still, to this day, that was 9.5 years ago, we still hold it. Apparently, some people think they were breaking our record, but there's a thing called a marathon hug where you get to break 5 minutes every hour, and we did not do that. Ours was a continuous.
Yeah. Don't talk about the washroom.
Yeah, no, right? Like I'm not even going down that road. So I was just saying, but you guys literally stood in the same place hugging each other.
Yes.
Yeah. And
outside.
Yeah.
Outside, yeah. We did it. We had a tent over top of us, which was good because it rained that night, and spotlights on us, and make sure that it was being videotaped and documented. And
we actually brought, just to kind of give you talking about goals and creating a vision and stuff. We actually brought one of the Canadian champion karate. He was a high level in the karate end of things here in Canada, represented our country all around the world. And it was about, we asked him, I said, what do you think, what is going to be our biggest challenge? Is it going to be physical? What? He says, it's going to be mental. Yeah. And he says, I will be there in the hours, the last number of hours. And he sat with us, mentally coaching us through, because it was, we just wanted to give up, And you think standing there for 24 hours is easy? It's not easy.
Dehydrated.
No. I'm being serious. Like when I jokes aside on that whole thing. Yeah. Like, I mean, I want to throw one out there that says, like, have you guys ever hugged again since then?
Oh yeah.
but I mean, seriously though, mentally draining, mentally exhausting. Okay. And using that for a moment and coming back to this idea of consistency, coming back to this idea of being mentally beat up, physically fatigued.
Yes.
And having to work through that, because ultimately you had a goal.
Yes, we did.
Right?
Yeah.
And with that goal, and that there goes full circle, the importance of, laying out those goals, laying out that plan, laying out what it is you do every single day, and really staying, on track, but understanding too that we are all human.
Yes.
And you are going to go through your ups and you are going to go through your downs. There's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. And it's what are we doing to get past that? I imagine you guys went through a lot of that through the hours and the minutes of just doing that,
Yeah.
that alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just
Right.
supporting each other
Other.
and having a community of volunteers
with
that
us.
was supporting as well. That was incredible.
Made a difference.
Back to the relationships with
Yep.
people.
And those relationships are still here today
Yep.
with us, and we're very happy.
Mhm.
All the agents that were there with us,
Mhm.
that 24 hours, they're still with our brokerage.
You see that? You see how amazing things like that come together. And again, that's the idea of how do you actually get out there and grow your business
Yeah.
is connect with people. And the more people you connect with and the more genuine you are about it, don't go in there looking for the deal, the transaction, anything else. Just go out there and be real about what you do every single day.
Yeah.
And you will grow as an individual.
100.
So, any parting words from either of you to our audience in any way? Anything? I mean, we've talked a lot about today with relationships and culture and philanthropy and reciprocity. And I mean, there's a lot of the challenges people have faced where they find their successes. Just any parting thoughts before we take off?
We want to actually. We've been with your journey the last number of years, and we've been very blessed and very fortunate to work with you. And you've helped us, and you've helped our brokerage, you've helped our agents. And we want to thank you. And when we saw that you were the keynote speaker out in Victoria. First Century 21 Canada, we were so excited. And we're just, it's an incredible journey, and we love it. And we want to be with you all every step of the way. And we love your podcast, your posts, and the energy.
Positivity.
Yeah.
Absolutely love the positivity.
Yeah. So.
Well, I did not expect that as the parting words, but I can't thank you both enough. I really, this has been absolutely amazing. I can talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
We still need to get out there and got to get Jen together, and we got to go and do that bite that we've been talking about. We're going to be doing that in the next few weeks once I'm done with this whirlwind of craziness of flying all over. But we are going to make that happen. So amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, 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 this has been an inspiring episode.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to industrysyndicate.com or even downloaded our Industry Syndicate app. Or maybe you went to mindshare101.com. Wherever you like to consume your content, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening.